And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Tonight, an exclusive. A Houston bar owner says he spent 2 days in jail for having bugs in his business. We met with that business owner on Washington Avenue who says he feels like he is being targeted by the city. Let's take you to the sidebar. So, Josh, it was business as usual here at the Sidebar for you, and I assume you weren't here and you got a call from your staff.
Yes, I did, and once I got called, they handed over to police, and I actually said, I'm going to get up here. I'm going to come meet you. That's why.
And why were the police here?
Just a routine inspection. It's a club division unit headed by Sergeant Ripple. They've actually been here quite over 20 times, so I actually have a great relationship with them.
And so why were they here 20 times?
Well, just to break down on, there's an initiative on crime in the city, and especially on Washington Avenue. And so, like I said, we have an open door policy. I let them know you don't need a warrant, come in anytime. I have his number, so he, you know, we have a great relationship, and that's why.
I mean, that great relationship didn't work great. Thursday, you ended up in jail.
I did, and ultimately it was wrong. I ended up in jail for something that through back channels, people in the city, HPD officers, nobody's ever seen this before, that somebody went to jail for a misdemeanor health violation. And this is the equivalent of going 42 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone and just going to jail. It made no sense, and still doesn't make sense. I still haven't had the answers.
So what did they accuse you of, that misdemeanor that led to you being put in the Harris County Jail? And you were there how long?
I was there actually for 48 hours.
Wow.
And because the DA basically held the charge, that's what I was told, and on the 24th hour, they released the charge, and it takes a lot of time to process, which I understand, but they don't take into account that I did not have my seizure medication. So 26 hours in, I had to be rushed to the clinic because I started shaking and going through withdrawals, and they were, you know, they did take care of me, but at the same time, it was very taxing and tolling on my body.
Now, when you found yourself being arrested and they said it was for pests, rodents, what did you think? That you were being arrested, put in handcuffs, taken to jail for a violation that most people just get a citation for, they get a hearing for, but you are going behind bars.
It wasn't shocking, honestly. It wasn't shocking because I feel I was targeted because ultimately we have no rodents. There's nothing in the report about a rodent. There was nothing in the report about roaches. Now, you know, I can't go into the specifics on what they, you know, found, but at the same time, even the officers who arrested me said, we feel bad. This is on body cam. Release the footage. They said, we feel bad because you've been cooperative. You've been nothing but cooperative. I saw shock on their faces. I saw shock on the fire marshal's face. I don't think anybody could believe that for this charge I was going to jail. And ultimately, go ahead.
And so what do you think this is all about? I mean, if you said you don't have rodents here, you don't have roaches here, I mean, what do you think this is about, Josh?
Ultimately, I think it's about shutting down the bars in Washington. And it's not right because I'm not just a bar owner, I'm a business owner. And you know, we have all our permits. My compliance is my favorite word. And ultimately, it's about, I think, the neighborhoods not liking Latinos and African Americans in our community. Because bars were here way longer than I've been here, or they've been here. But when it's a different demographic, all of a sudden, music changes, and we got a lot of complaints.
And I'm sorry, you said the demographic as far as the neighborhood has changed.
No, I'm talking about the customers, as in the clubs. So clubs have, you know, went more towards the Latino, but everybody's welcome. It just seems like this neighborhood now is catering, you know, the clubs. We have a huge Latino customer base. We also have a huge African American customer base. And I think there's been a lot of talk about noise I don't believe that. I think that ultimately they do not want Latinos and African Americans in the neighborhoods.
Well, you are talking about like a whole group of bars and nightclubs. There's got to be some noise, though, right?
There is noise, and it's like parenting. We try to get it right, but do we get it right all the time? I can't say we do, but we want to work with the neighbors. My initiative here was dialogue. I want to have a dialogue with the city. I want to have a dialogue with the neighbors, with the TABC, and I felt like somewhere along the lines there's a lack of dialogue. And one more point. When I got out of jail, the first thing I saw on my phone was a post on Facebook from the head of the neighborhood association bragging about our business being shut down, our businesses, and thanking the mayor, thanking the fire department, thanking all these places. And to me, that's just so insensitive for to gloat for employees, businesses to be out of business.
Now, when we come back here on The Factor Uncensored, we will tell you what the district attorney's office and the health department had to say about this case. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Now, back to our exclusive tonight. Is this a case about a bar owner being arrested for bugs in his business, really about health violations, or making a neighborhood more livable to those who call it home? Let's show you what the county and city had to say about the sidebar, along with the former prosecutor. HHD has visited this facility for inspections 5 times since December 2023. There were 21 violations observed at this facility from December 2023 to present. However, HHD does not oversee alcohol permitting, nor does HHD arrest business owners for lack of cleanliness. This arrest is through HPD. We also reached out to the Harris County District Attorney's Office, who would approve those charges. And we received this statement. Business owners who enjoy the benefits of selling alcohol with a TABC license are subject to sanitation requirements to prevent harm to customers' health, and violation of these sanitation requirements is criminal. This is a hybrid misdemeanor under the Alcohol Beverage Code, with a punishment range of up to 1 year in the Harris County Jail and/or a fine of between $100 to $1,000. And joining us now is Bayoji Akingbala, a former Harris County prosecutor and now criminal defense attorney. What do you make of this case? Have you ever heard of a business owner, being a former prosecutor yourself, being arrested for something like this?
Quite frankly, Mr. Carey, this is a very bizarre criminal complaint. It's something that I've never seen in my years of practice as a defense attorney, nor as a prosecutor. I've seen businesses having been prosecuted before, but especially when you're talking about restaurants and bars, you normally see criminal complaints filed for like serving minors, promoting prostitution at their business, serving alcohol after hours. But I've never seen anything quite like this before.
What do you think this is about then?
It makes me wonder if, this is some kind of shift in policy, and, the cynical side of me creeps in, and I wonder if does a prosecutor have an axe to grind with this restaurant owner for them to use such an obscure statute and go after someone criminally as opposed to just civilly?
No, we also have residents in the area, and obviously they have complaints about noise, and yet that's understandable. If you want your neighborhood and your community quiet, that is quite understandable. But would someone go to this extreme to get a neighborhood quiet, or is this just a rare ordinance that they're using and taking advantage of to send a message?
I certainly hope this is not some kind of unique way of getting at reducing noise in a neighborhood, because if we're talking about justice, we should face issues head on. If there is a legitimate concern about noise, then use the proper legal avenue to address that issue of noise. Don't try to circumvent the process and then come up with a fancy, obscure criminal complaint to address the problem, because that's not just for business owners.
And should, I guess, all bar and restaurant owners be concerned now if this guy, Josh, has been arrested as a result of this complaint. I think a misdemeanor, and he's accused of not keeping his business clean and having pests there. Should all business owners be running scared in Houston?
I think so. I mean, you look at this complaint and it says that he intentionally and knowingly refused to comply with a municipal health and sanitary ordinance. And it says he did this by failing to maintain health standards, namely take effective action to eliminate pests. And so what does that mean? What does that look like in practice? How does a business owner know when they are and are not in compliance?
And of course, that becomes a question now. We are reaching out to residents in the area to see if they will talk about the issues on Washington Avenue as well.